Hello, welcome to this update for the U.S. and parts of Canada. So let's see what's happening. So here, in terms of severe weather, nothing crazy today, just a storm or two in the south there and in the northwest because of this bigger system there on the west coast with rain and some snow there. But tomorrow, let's see here. We have a marginal risk tomorrow, parts of Texas and Oklahoma, and wind less than 2%, mainly for hail, some 5% hail there, and tornado less than 2%. So, yeah, let's say a few elevated storms, possibly capable of producing hail, may develop across southern high plains into western Oklahoma Tuesday night. So be aware, tomorrow night, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, still a marginal risk, parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and part of Alabama. Just 5% probabilistic, and a storm or two in other areas. So marginal tornado wind threat is apparent on Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night across a part of central Gulf Coast states. So be aware for Wednesday there, and later still nothing. Day 4 to 8. Let's see the fire threat. We do have an elevated fire threat, parts of southern southwestern California there again, just elevated, but be aware, this is a weak cold front will move across southern California across today Monday and day 2 Tuesday. Behind this frontal passage, gusty northwest winds will be enhanced near favorable downslope terrain, features across Santa Barbara, Ventura counties. Relative humidity will hover around elevated thresholds. The relative humidity will decrease, especially mid to upper slopes, and be below critical relative humidity thresholds with power overnight recovery into Tuesday evening into Wednesday. So, however, winds expect to weaken below thresholds during this period. As such, elevated delineation was maintained with this outlook. So, be aware there's some gusty winds and low humidity, and later still nothing. So here we have some wind weather advisories, parts of northern Washington and Oregon, parts of northern Utah and the mountains of California, and some wind advisories, parts of southern Utah, northeastern Utah, the UP of Michigan, and southern California. So be aware, even a flood watch or two, northern Washington there, and that warning looks like a flash flood warning there in the mountain of California. So be careful there. Those warnings last a short amount of time, but they are very dangerous because of flash flooding. So, but by the time you watch this video, this might be different, and it does show a high wind watch northern Montana there. So be aware. Today just shows some potential mixed precipitation, the northwest in the mountains, and even the northeast there, and even the UP of Michigan, some and more rain and storms in other areas. They choose some more mixed precipitation across the west, a little bit heavier snow in Washington, northern Washington, and still some mixed precipitation in the parts of the northeast. Day 3 shows more snow, mountains of northeastern Oregon and northern Washington might be a little bit heavier, a mixed precipitation or two near Pennsylvania and parts of the northwest. So be aware. And excessive rainfall is less than 5% today, Monday. Tuesday, a marginal, parts of Washington and Oregon, so be aware for Tuesday. And Wednesday, a marginal near the mid-south and in the northwest again, so be aware. Wednesday, Thursday, less than 5%, and Friday, less than 5%. So, yeah, be aware. Snowfall probabilities today, Monday, is showing more across already in Oregon, some more probabilities in Washington, in some of the mountains of Northern California, and the Sierra Nevada, shows some in northeastern Nevada, in some small mountains there, and more across Utah, not Utah, but in Idaho, and like northeastern Oregon. So yeah, be aware. And some there in eastern Canada and Quebec and British Columbia. So let's see, day 2 still heavier in Washington, shows more there, some in Idaho, and parts of western Montana, especially northwestern Montana, shows some in Utah already, and in the Rockies of Colorado, and a little bit between Idaho and Wyoming, so be aware. Day 3 shows heavier in central Idaho and northern Washington, northern Idaho as well, and parts of Montana, but shows some in northern California and parts of Oregon. So that's day 3, the probabilities. Day 4 shows some scare probabilities across the Northwest. Day 5, March, Montana and Idaho, and maybe California. Day 6 in Washington again shows more, and day 7 showing a lot across the Northwest, maybe a thing or two in the Southwest. So be aware, they have these different probabilities here. The probability of snowfall accumulating, so does show there across the west today Monday in those areas from like California to Washington, but heavier in Washington there, and yeah, some in Idaho, Montana, and show a tiny 5% there in like northern New York, but very little. Shows a lot there in Canada, parts of eastern Quebec and Ontario, some, especially in British Columbia near Alberta. So be aware, this is alright today into Tuesday, then until Wednesday, more northern Washington, in Idaho and parts of Wyoming show some more probabilities. Until later Wednesday, kind of that. Until Thursday, still heavy in Washington there, central Idaho, and until later on Thursday, showing more stronger northern Idaho and central Idaho and Washington. So be aware in those areas, and still there in British Columbia and parts of Alberta. So let's see. This is snow. Let's see, maybe freezing rain too. I don't expect much, but it does show some slight probabilities, the highest peaks of a freezing rain or two, but nothing crazy. Maybe in the peaks of the Cascades there as well, in eastern Quebec, showing some probabilities. Northern Maine at a 5% probability. That's very low, but you never know. Uh, Wednesday's not showing anything. Thursday, later on Thursday, some little spots there, especially showing on Thursday some West Virginia or parts of Virginia there in the Appalachians. So we'll keep watching that. Let's see now some models and stuff. So there's the system, the Northwest, and the model here does show that snow in Canada today, especially across the west there, and here you can see a little bit better. So there's like that snow there moves through Quebec and Labrador and goes away. The snow parts of British Columbia, Alberta, Washington and Oregon and there, and it moves all the way into like Colorado and Utah throughout Tuesday, according to the GFS, because each model is different. And then those have a bigger system like northern Saskatchewan into Nunavut on like Wednesday the 13th, northern Quebec as well, a little bit of snow. It does have a bigger system on the coast of like southern British Columbia, northern Washington with heavier snow on the 13th, and into the 14th, still some snow there. Shows even the 15th, like Manitoba, some more snow, and into western Ontario, even some in the Sierra Nevada in California. And then this goes showing more snow, a snow or two like in south central Manitoba on the 16th, and North Dakota and maybe some areas, and showing more across the coast of the west, British Columbia, and southern Alaska later, and more areas. And the GFS has also here this cold front crossing the central eastern US on the 13th and 14th, with some more storms there until the east coast. So yeah, and the GFS has that hurricane forming the Caribbean, passing by Florida, and yesterday it was showing a nor'easter there or something, but today the GFS is curving it further away from the coast. But it does have some snow in parts of the Appalachians in the northeast on like November 25th or something, but that's very far out. There's the European model, shows the system there in eastern Quebec, in New Brunswick, with some snow, in Ontario too, and shows more there in British Columbia, that snow. Then Tuesday tomorrow shows more snow in Utah as well, and going to Colorado, and throughout northern Idaho and Montana. It shows that snow from British Columbia goes towards northern Alberta, Saskatchewan, kind of like southern Nunavut, and northern Quebec maybe by Wednesday. So be aware. On Wednesday shows a bigger system on the coast there, maybe heavier snow in northern Washington and southern British Columbia on Wednesday, even into Alberta there, and shows more later, continuing there in Idaho, Montana on the 13th. And then this goes, shows on the 14th some stuff near Nevada and Idaho, and especially later on the 16th into southern Saskatchewan and some areas. But the European does have some weird systems, like coming from the eastern Pacific and forming something in the Great Plains with some snow and maybe severe weather on the 17th and 18th. The GFS kind of had that as well. And now that the European is also showing a hurricane forming there. This run from the European is very wild. Take a look at the strength of that system there. And this is not usual in the European model, but yeah, we'll discuss that better in the tropical update. But this is just one run, it will change billions of times. And let's see, shows more systems scraping southeastern Alaska, some snow on Wednesday in eastern Alaska, shows especially later on the 14th southern Alaska there, and on the 15th as well into Yukon, Northwestern Territories, some more snow. So be aware in those areas. There's the GEFS, the snowfall probabilities, shows there those areas of the northwest and across eastern Canada and western Canada shows more. And then we move this along, it goes to like the southern Rockies and continues moving through northern Canada, British Columbia, some more snow. And Saturday, next Sunday, next Monday, this is very interesting. But now, like some actual accumulation does show here until the 16th from the European model. It has more snow. Let's see, has more snow some parts of the west, some 11 inches in Idaho, since in Oregon close to 17 inches, in the Sierra Nevada, in California some central northern Nevada, across Utah a little bit of snow, in Colorado, Brussels heavier in Washington, close to 31 inches, even 36 inches in the next 5 days, and more across Idaho, Montana, and some areas. The GFS showing a tiny bit in North Dakota and maybe like near Nebraska and some areas a tiny bit, but that's very little. The Europeans also showing the Appalachians, a tiny hint in North Carolina and Tennessee, but especially in West Virginia there. And the European has more like part or two in New York, in Vermont, New Hampshire, especially Vermont there. But the GFS has a lot there in the northeast, like some 8 inches, more northern New York, New Hampshire, many areas. So yeah, be aware. There like southern Alaska still shows a lot, so some 41 inches, 39 inches, 36 inches, but southeastern Alaska shows some 8 inches, 6 to 9 inches, and a little bit northern Alaska, but nothing crazy. There's the icon as well, shows a lot in those parts of the northwest there, and even southern Montana, some 8 inches, Washington, shows even Pennsylvania, a spot or two, and yeah, and then the arc is more in southern Alaska, southeastern Alaska too, so be aware in those areas. Now, rain accumulation shows more with that front in the south there, some, wait, some 2 inches in some areas, 2 to 3 inches, a little bit in the plains, but shows more like southern Washington and Oregon, especially central Washington there along the coast, some 6 inches, but northern California, southern Oregon shows some 5 inches, 4 inches, and more across some areas there. So be aware. In Hawaii, shows some showers, nothing that crazy, some 1 inch, 2 inches, and yeah, the European model has a lot from the coast of Oregon all the way into California, especially in Washington, some 6 inches there. And yeah, the European still has more in the south, some 3 inches and 2 inches more because of that front. and some showers in Hawaii as well, some 2 inches. So yeah, in Alaska does have some rain in the south, but there might be mainly snow there. So yeah, now here shows parts of southern British Columbia, especially along the coast. There's 151 millimeters by the European. Those areas might be snow. Those areas will be snow because there are mountains there. But these areas closer to the coast, this will probably be rain. So be careful, some heavy rain there. Shows more rain in some areas, especially in Atlantic Canada. There are some 100 millimeters, some areas, some 134 millimeters in New Brunswick, northern Nova Scotia. So be aware. The European model has this system now Mondays, so in Nova Scotia, to Newfoundland, early on Tuesday tomorrow. And it has some snow across New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, a little bit of snow there to New Brunswick as well. Then it has some heavy rain starting like Tuesday night in Newfoundland and some areas. Then this goes away there, but still showing on the Friday the 15th. More rain around there, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and parts of the northeast there. Saturday, and yeah, and the Europeans curving yet again another system towards there on the 17th. So be aware, the GFS is kind of different. Yes, that front there now, some snow into Nova Scotia as well, Newfoundland, and this goes Thursday, and it has more systems there, like into Friday the 15th. It has this system probably affecting Bermuda there on the 16th, some rain gusty winds. Then the GFS also has a curving towards Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. So be aware of those areas, and yeah, so be aware. And the wind gusts, they are stronger now in the Great Lakes because of those systems. Uh, then it goes, that shows stronger winds tomorrow, Tuesday, in New Hampshire, Maine, close to like some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, 46 in some areas, and more across the northeast. This goes there, and yeah, and becomes very strong there in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. I'll show you in kilometers in a second. So here, does show this stronger system on Wednesday, right the coast of Washington, Oregon, close to 50 mile per hour gusts, 59 mile per hour gusts in some areas. Northern Montana, stronger as well. This goes there, shows some stronger winds in the coast of Oregon, even close to 63 mile per hour gusts in Northern California. So be aware. This is still on Wednesday. Shows more in Oregon, some mountains of Oregon, southern Montanas, some gusty wind to Wyoming. So be aware, this goes there. Maybe still some gusty winds on the plains, but it has this new system, the 16th, some gusty winds near Arizona, and like some other areas there of Utah, some 40, 44 mile per hour gusts. And then this is Saturday, this goes there. We might have stuff later too, like on the 17th, shows some higher gusts, but that's kind of far out. In Alaska, we have those systems near the Aleutian Islands, some gusty winds from time to time, but the next bigger system could be like on the 14th, with some 55 mile per hour gusts. This goes, and it's really showing a strong one on the 16th, some close to 63 mile per hour gusts, and later too. This system, like a week and a half from now, is really kicking up those swings. So yeah, but there's a long time until that happens. Showing some stronger in southern Alaska on the 17th as well, and yeah, and those systems on the coast might bring some larger waves. So be aware in those areas. Now here shows, alright, Tuesday, very early on Tuesday, some stronger winds in the mountains of Alberta, British Columbia, close to 75 to 80 km per hour gusts. Then this is Tuesday, that goes still southern Alberta, something like 72 km per hour gusts. and then it's showing those stronger winds like southern British Columbia, some May, Jeremy Pargusts, and some areas there. And I didn't even notice this, but like a part of northern Washington showing out 62 mile per Augusts. So yeah, and let's see, this is Wednesday, this goes there. Still gusting the true until Thursday, southern Alberta, northern Montana, and then this goes Friday. Maybe stronger winds in parts of interior British Columbia, the mountains there, or like the 17th or something. So more to northwestern territories, and yeah, so BR might have more systems after that as well. But in the Atlantic here, does show that front there, and the Europeans really kicking up those gusts. On Thursday the 14th, some 85 km per gust, 79, stronger near Nova Scotia too. This goes there, shows some areas out other to 82 km per gust, Nova Scotia. This goes, and we might have that bigger system, the other system later. It doesn't show bigger in terms of winds, but shows like in terms of rain and stuff. So be aware those winds. Now let's see some temperature stuff. So today still some A is in the south, some far is in the north there, and especially colder northern Washington in some areas. But Monday night to Tuesday, tomorrow morning Tuesday shows some 20s and 30s, the northern Midwest, some 30s there, and parts of the northeast as well, especially like the mountains of the west. The Sierra Nevada there shows some teens and even like 15 or less Fahrenheit in those higher peaks there, plus the wind chills. It shows more in Colorado, choose some in New Mexico, some colder temperatures in Nevada, central northern Nevada, and yeah, be aware. Day 2 maximum for Tuesday during the day does show still some colder temperatures in some mountains across the west there, and warmer in the south, still some 70s and 80s. And then Tuesday night to Wednesday does show much colder in parts of the northeast, some 20s, 28, 24, and all the way to the central southern Appalachians, some 30s there, and does show some 20s in Michigan, northern Wisconsin, some 30s, and shows some very low teens in parts of Colorado there, northern Utah, and especially Wyoming and Montana and Idaho. So be aware, might be close to like 11, 10 Fahrenheit in the highest peaks of Colorado there. So be aware, shows more in northern Montana, North Dakota, some 30s, 20s, and all the way to southern Arizona, some areas of 40s and 30s. In California too, it's colder in those higher peaks there. So be aware. Wednesday during the day does show some A is in the south there, and still some far is and 30s in the cold in the high elevations of the west. So far is the northeast. So yeah, BR day 3 does show Thursday morning some 20s, even like 21, 19 Fahrenheit in northern Maine, northernmost Maine, might be close to like 18, 17 Fahrenheit. Some 20s all the way down to northern Pennsylvania. So be aware. In the night and morning shows more there. Some 20s, teens in the higher peaks of New Mexico, Colorado, 24, 31, and more cold across those mountains of the west there. Some far is along the coast of the west, some like 30 is in the northern plains, and some areas there, so be aware. Now, Thursday afternoon does show some far east the northeast, still kind of 20s, 30s the higher peaks of the west, especially like Wyoming and Idaho, and the Cascades and Montana. Shows still some 70s and 80s along the south from like Southern California to Florida. So yeah, and day 4 shows Friday mornings, still some 20s in parts of the northeast, some 30s, some more 20s in the northern plains, some 30s from the central high plains in many areas, Wisconsin too, some 30s, but some lower 20s and teens, the mountains of Colorado in California too, northern New Mexico, especially Montana and Wyoming, some things there, and parts of Idaho too. Oregon, Washington, some colder temperatures as well, and most of Nevada. So beware, Friday afternoon does show some 70s in the south and some 80s in extreme southern Texas and southern Florida, and some like 60s, some areas, some far east and northeast, and still cold across the high elevations there of the west. Next Saturday morning shows much colder in the mountains of California and the higher peaks there. In Oregon, shows some teens and even single digits in the higher peaks. Central Idaho, there are those higher peaks, might be close to like 15 to 10 Fahrenheit. Shows cold in Wyoming, Colorado especially, very cold. In Nevada, some teens and 20s, especially teens, shows more. In Utah, in the northern Arizona, and New Mexico, there, parts of the northern Midwest, in some areas. Let's just check the southwest a little bit closer to see here. So this will be November 16th in the morning. Shows like 6 Fahrenheit in the Sierra Nevada, some 13 Fahrenheit, and so like 23, 16, 15 in Nevada, and some 13 Fahrenheit in Colorado, 20 Fahrenheit. So yeah, and even some smaller mountains in Southern California there. So be aware. Shows day 6 for next Saturday afternoon. Some 8 is in southern Texas still, and some higher 70s in Florida, even some 80s. Some 4 is 50s in the northeast, and still very cold in the high elevations of the west there, even during the day. Day 6 for November 17th. Actually, this is not available yet, so yeah, there's still a lot of time until that, so we will check that throughout the next few days. And the 48-hour snowfall until Wednesday, they do have some close to like 30 inches of snow, those mountains of northern Washington, in a part of central Oregon, like 20 to 30 inches, even more, especially in Washington, even more in the higher peaks. Shows more in the Sierra Nevada, parts of Colorado and Utah, some in Nevada there, and more snow through Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, and some snow in parts of Vermont and northern New York, even New Hampshire. So be aware. In the 24-hour max wind gusts does show here some. This is for Monday, November 11th. So until Tuesday shows some higher gusts, close to 50-60 mile per hour gusts in the mountains of Montana, even close to 65 in a spot or two. Shows in the Sierra Nevada in California and westernmost Nevada, some 50-60 mile per hour gusts, occasionally higher in the higher peaks, other parts of Southern California, and into New Hampshire, Maine, occasional spot or two of 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts. So be aware there. Here, let's see if there's anything interesting. Day 6 to 10, those show those below average temperatures across the west, some above average temperatures across the east still, in central US. Day 8 through 14 still show some slightly below average in the west, and above average across the east there. Day 6 through 10 does show precipitation. It's not showing anything. This is weird. They might update this soon, but day 8 through 14 does showing some above average precipitation in many areas and some below average. So be aware. In Canada, we have some advisories in Quebec and parts of Yukon, and some winter storm warnings in southern British Columbia and some roads there, and Nunavut. So Nunavut, a snowfall warning. In Igloolik, snowfall amounts 10 to 15 centimeters expected, so be aware. And rapidly accumulating snow, so yeah, be aware today, Monday especially. And in Ontario, some special weather statements and weather advisors in all those locations. You just click on weather advisor. Snow from amounts 10 to 15 centimeters, icy and slippery roads, ending by early afternoon. So some special weather statements, strong winds today. Be aware there in those parts of Ontario. Yukon, blowing snow advisory in Dempster still. So yeah, be aware in those areas. And they do have here Day day 3 through 7 hazards, so heavy precipitation and snow in the northwest still, and the gusty winds there in the Great Lakes now, an area 2 of flooding, and day 8 through 14 does show still in Alaska some high winds, some heavy snow potential in the northwest, even California, some heavy precipitation, slight risk, and some high winds in the northeast. So be aware. Let's see. Winter storm severity index. Day 1 through 3, they have some areas of major in Washington there. Those higher peaks, mainly because of snowfall amount. There's even a spot or two of extreme there. So let's see, this mainly for snowfall amount, but snow load does show a thing or two, especially an extreme there on snow load. Flash freeze, not really. Blowing snow, might be a little bit. And yeah, and some others like California too, some blowing snow there, and some other areas. So be aware. Even Colorado, New Mexico, a tiny little bit, and yeah, be aware. Now, this is some quick temperatures for Canada. We have still some very cold temperatures in Nunavut, Northwestern Territories, -21, -23. Northern Quebec is pretty cold as well. It shows here like a little bit better, like southern Alberta this afternoon, but later tonight into tomorrow does show those negative temperatures all the way to southern Ontario and other parts there. Parts of Nunavut some -25 to -28 degrees, northwestern territories, and most of British Columbia very cold in other areas there. Tuesday tomorrow does show that gap with a little less cold temperatures, but still very cold in the other areas. This goes there's still some gaps across southern Canada, but generally colder across the west this week, the north especially, and yeah, and now there are like those -26 temperatures in Nunavut. By the end of this week, it shows it dissipating a little bit and getting a little bit less cold, but still extremely cold across Yukon and Alaska. There's some -36 degrees Celsius, so very cold by like early next week there, and this will be like some -25 Fahrenheit, -25, -8 Fahrenheit, some 20, 10 Fahrenheit in other areas. This next Tuesday, but before that shows those colder temperatures mainly in northern Alaska, and then yeah, and all the way to southern Alaska, those negative temperatures, and maybe the Aleutian Islands are spared there. But yeah, be aware in those areas, the rain, snow, storms, and everything.